Beyond the Gate spoilers for Wednesday, August 6th, 2025 tease that Anita brings fans to tears with an ending so emotional that no one saw it coming. The opening act of the show is emotional. Under the bright spotlights, Anita stands alone in the middle of the stage, her breath shaky as the final chord of the show plays. The audience falls silent. The sudden silence only adds to the weight of what is about to happen. It is then that Anita begins to speak up, not through music, but through confession. She shares the painful, hidden realities behind the articulates, a once bright band now torn apart by secrets and regrets. She recounts backstage moments never before revealed, early morning rehearsals that turned into arguments, whispered apologies in dressing rooms, nights she lay awake wondering whether she could step back into the spotlight. She mentions Barbara, her voice cracking, as someone who believed in the dream, who held the group's spirit in her hands before tragedy struck. Anita's regret for unresolved conflict with Barbara emerges in trembling words. "We never fought the monsters outside. We let the monsters inside tear us apart." Tears form in the crowd as she names Barbara directly, speaks of shared laughter and unspoken goodbyes. Then comes gratitude. She dedicates a commemorative gesture in memory of Barbara, a silver locket engraved with Barbara's initials, which Anita holds up for the world to see. She describes how fans wrote messages in memory of her friend, how they filled the arenas with love that Barbara will never see in person but feels in spirit. The sincerity hits home so hard that the audience wipes eyes openly, some embracing strangers beside them. When she tells the story of that locket being lost and found among the rubble of a canceled show after a storm, the emotional current surges even more. Jim appears at the wings of the stage. He's the producer, and longtime confidant steps forward softly once Anita finishes her tribute, offering her a hand. He gently persuades Anita to continue performing, saying, "The world still needs Articulatus and you." He speaks of future bookings, of fans waiting, of revenue and legacy. But Anita's decision already glows in her eyes. She wants something different. She doesn't want to reignite the machine. She wants reconnection. She turns to Jim and says, "I need you to help Sharon and Tracy rebuild to bring them back to the peak, with dignity and truth." She lays out her vision, two former members, or ally performers, who once felt betrayed by the group's collapse. She's offering to invert the narrative, no more central star, but a shared rebirth. She wants Jim to direct Sharon and Tracy's comeback, not hers. She wants to step out of the center, let healing come through their return. Jim looks surprised, but slowly nods. He understands. This is radical. Anita is choosing to fade, give powerful space for others to rise back. It's not abdication, it's conscious leadership. She explains how lingering resentment and whispers of blame have haunted those two, especially Sharon. Anita tells the audience she has spent the past months reaching out, listening to painful reminders of betrayal, apologizing sincerely, and revealing how Barbara's spirit demanded honesty. Sharon appears next in the muted glow of stage lights. She steps forward softly. The crowd gasps as she comes near Anita. Sharon shares her own emotional journey, her initial refusal to speak with Anita, the resentment she carried, the sleepless nights replaying harsh words. But then she describes reading a fan letter, glimpsing Barbara's name again, remembering their shared beginnings and gradually reconsidering. She speaks of forgiveness as a process. It's not just saying, "I forgive you." It's unraveling the story I told myself about what happened, so I can rebuild trust. Sharon places her hand on Anita's and embraces her publicly. Tracy steals herself behind them, eyes glistening. The tension in the arena shifts from suspense to catharsis. Tracy steps forward and echoes Sharon's sentiments. "I want that return to be honest. Not nostalgia, but a new chapter." Tracy describes her own doubts, how fans only remembered the glamour and didn't ask what hurt behind the scenes, and how she, too, needed Anita to admit truths before she could step forward again. The two women hug Anita in front of thousands. The moment is wrenching, powerful. The fans rise to their feet in a standing ovation, half cheers, half sobs. Anita nods, tears sliding down her cheeks, and whispers, Thank you, this means everything. At that juncture, the formal part of the performance ends. But hidden cues remain, Kat's presence in the shadows watching all of this and another drama brewing. The narrative now shifts to backstage and the party scene, where the lines blur between celebration and confrontation. Meanwhile, Danny has placed a bold bet with Nicole before the show. I guarantee Leslie will show up. 30-1 that she tries to crash. Nicole shrugs but accepts, amused and slightly uneasy. The party buzzes post-show, champagne flows, lights dance off mirrored walls. Everyone congratulates everyone else. Then Nicole spots her Leslie arriving through the back door, looking unusually determined. Anticipation crackles. Danny watches Leslie walk in. Everyone else in the room swivels, some excited, some disgusted. Leslie doesn't look like someone who belongs here. She's coming to claim something. Nicole's face twists. She looks away quickly to avoid an outburst. Eva, Leslie's daughter, is at her side. She looks embarrassed, uncertain whether to follow her mother's lead. Nicole sees Eva's eyes and feels a pang of compassion, but Kat moves first. Kat intercepts Eva and Leslie near the entrance. She places herself between them and the crowd. Her tone is icy. This party's not for you. She commands Leslie to leave no explanation, no negotiation. Eva flinches. Leslie, flustered, tries to protest. I just wanted closure. Kat cuts her off. You've made your point. Go. The crowd whispers. Eva stammers, Mom, maybe we should just. And Leslie starts again to speak up, but Kat's stare holds the power. Leslie falters and then retreats into humiliation. Kat watches as they leave, Eva's face averted and stained with shame. Back in the main hall, murmurs rise. Nicole stands, unsure her bet paid, but the moment is cruel. She looks at Danny, who smiles smugly. She hears someone say Leslie probably came only for attention. Nicole's resolve hardens. She cares less about bets now and more about defending what's right. Later that night, Nicole goes to Leslie's house. On arrival, she waits in the car, heart pounding. She's decided she won't let Leslie get away with humiliating her daughter. She steels herself and knocks. Inside Leslie's home, the air's tense. Nicole opens with firm calm. You embarrassed us, you embarrassed Eva. Leslie flinches under the accusation. Nicole continues, reminding Leslie of her responsibilities as a mother and public figure. She says each harsh word. You stomped into our moment uninvited, used Eva as shield. That was wrong. She watches Leslie shrink. Leslie tries to speak, but Nicole interrupts, pointing out that Eva herself had asked her mother to stop this nonsense, to spare her more humiliation. Eva, present in the living room, nods. Nicole softens slightly but continues, your own daughter told you to stop. She didn't need more of this drama. The weight hits Leslie. Nicole then offers Eva a vinyl record signed by the group, a peace offering. But she delivers a parting jab. Maybe you can tuck it away somewhere you won't lose sight of how far you pulled this. She promises Leslie won't hear from her again unless you truly own what you did. Broken, Leslie says nothing. Nicole steps away. Eva exhales. Nicole leaves, slamming the door quietly. Eva watches solemnly, conflicted feelings flickering across her face. Nicole drives off into the night, adrenaline fading. Backstage, Anita sits quietly. She's leaving soon. Flashbacks to her confessions, to Sharon and Tracy's embrace. She contemplates the impact. So much forgiveness, so much release. Jim approaches and says quietly, they'll be fine. And so will you. Anita leans her head back and breathes. The energy shifts, the end of a show, the start of something deeper. The public narrative is rewritten, not about a comeback star, but a woman choosing integrity over ego, choosing to let others shine. And the post-show drama echoes the theme, confrontation replaced by dignity, confrontation prompting clarity. I'll pause here at this turning point where choices converge. Part 2 will continue with all the final transformations, resolutions, and the moving, tear-jerking closure that makes fans weep. Tracy stands on the rooftop of the rehearsal studio, overlooking the skyline. The city feels smaller now, not because it's changed, but because she's found perspective. Anita's departure has shifted the dynamic completely. For the first time in years, Tracy feels a kind of freedom not from the Articulate's legacy, but from the weight of bitterness she carried like armor. With Sharon by her side, they begin planning a joint performance. Not a reunion tour, but something new, a hybrid act that blends the spirit of their past with their individual growth. Sharon wants to go acoustic. Tracy wants choreography that's more visceral, more grounded. They argue, they laugh, they compromise. Backstage, Jim works tirelessly to orchestrate their debut under a new name. He suggests the interval symbolic of what comes between pain and purpose. Sharon rejects it immediately. Tracy offers the afterwards. They settle on third act. It feels honest. Their comeback is quiet but deliberate. They choose small venues to start spaces where they can feel every reaction, hear every breath. Fans line up around the block. Many come with tear-streaked faces, holding posters of Anita, Barbara, and the original trio. But when the music begins, it's clear something real is happening. Meanwhile, Leslie watches all of this unfold from a distance. Her presence at the show may have ended in disgrace, but her obsession hasn't cooled. She scrolls through fan forums, reads reviews of Third Act, and lurks on social media accounts dedicated to old Articulate's memorabilia. The more she sees Sharon and Tracy flourish without Anita's central pull, the more she burns with envy. She believes she was part of the original fandom that built this success. And she refuses to be erased from it. Eva, tired of her mother's obsessive spiral, confronts her once again. They argue in the kitchen, Eva with trembling hands, Leslie with frantic defensiveness. Eva says, "You're not a part of this. You never were. You were just watching from the outside." Leslie screams back, "I kept the dream alive when they abandoned it." Eva doesn't flinch this time. She walks out and doesn't return that night. Kat hears about the fight through back channels. She's become a quiet protector not just for Anita, but for everyone tangled in the Articulate's aftermath. She's kept the trolls at bay, managed fan expectations, and ensured that Sharon and Tracy's privacy is respected. When Eva messages her, Kat doesn't hesitate. She invites her over, offers tea, and for once, doesn't hold her guard up. They talk late into the night, not about fame or music, but about mothers who forget how to let go. Nicole, on the other hand, finds herself the unexpected icon of resilience. Her clapback at Leslie has gone semi-viral among the fanbase. Memes of the vinyl quote circulate, "Put it somewhere the sun don't shine." She laughs about it in private, but the tension still lingers. She hasn't seen Leslie since that night, but she hears that Leslie's behavior is escalating. Nicole debates whether to ignore her or confront her again, but this time with compassion. Danny thinks Nicole is wasting energy. That woman lives in a fantasy built out of backstage passes and expired dreams, she says bluntly. But Nicole isn't so sure. She senses something deeper in Leslie, a loneliness that's metastasized into obsession. She writes Leslie a letter she never sends. In it, she tells her, "You're not the villain. You're just stuck in a story that's already ended. Write a new one." She burns the letter in her kitchen sink. A month later, Third Act announces a major performancia one-night-only show at an iconic theater. Tickets sell out in minutes. Anita won't be there, but her spirit will. Sharon and Tracy prepare like it's their last chance to reclaim everything they lost. They rehearse until their voices strain and their feet blister. Jim is more nervous than they are. This is the night everything becomes real. Kat handles security herself. She's made sure Leslie's name is flagged at the entrance. But the night of the concert, Kat spots Eva near the lobby. Alone. Anxious. Kat approaches and Eva whispers she's coming. "I told her not to. But she's coming." Kat tightens her jaw. "She won't get through me." Inside the theater, the atmosphere is electric. Fans chant. The curtain rises. Sharon walks out in soft light, begins the first note. Tracy joins her mid-song. The harmony is fragile but fierce. Every line they sing sounds like an apology and a promise. In the back alley, Leslie tries to talk her way in. She's wearing a hoodie pulled low, but Kat clocks her immediately. A brief standoff occurs. Leslie pleads, I just want to watch. I won't say anything. Kat refuses. Leslie tries again. Kat steps closer. You made Eva cry, she says flatly. You made this about you. Not them. You don't get a second chance tonight. Leslie doesn't fight back. She just sags against the wall and watches the marquee lights blink. She stays there until the final song echoes through the alley. Only then does she turn and walk away. Back inside, Sharon and Tracy finish the final chorus. The audience explodes. Fans cry. Some shout Anita's name. Tracy steps forward. This one, she says, is for everyone who survived what nearly broke them. The lights go down. After the show, backstage is chaos. Jim hugs everyone. Sharon and Tracy are stunned into silence. Nicole arrives with champagne. Danny toasts them. Kat brings Eva into the dressing room. She walks up to Tracy and says, You brought us all back. Sharon looks at Anita's locket, now hanging on a microphone stand as tribute. She touches it once and whispers, We made it. Across town, Leslie arrives home and finds her mailbox full of vinyl. Fan tributes. Unsolicited gifts. Among them is a record with a handwritten note, signed by everyone except you. Time to start your own track list. No name attached. But she knows it's from Nicole. She puts the record down and turns to Eva's empty room. She sits on the edge of the bed. For the first time in years, she doesn't plan her next move. She just breathes. In the days that follow, social media lights up with footage from the show. Fans debate whether Anita will ever return. Rumors swirl. But those who were there know, the heart of Articulates was never just one person. It was all of the fractured, flawed, but real. What they gave that night was more than music. It was release. Kat begins working on a documentary about the journey uncensored, unfiltered. Nicole offers to narrate. Sharon and Tracy give their blessing. Anita sends in a voicemail. Some songs never finish. They just fade into the lives of the people who heard them. And somewhere, Barbara's photo rests on a shelf backstage, lit by the soft glow of a forgotten spotlight. Weeks pass, and the aftershocks of the third act performance ripple through everyone's lives. Reviews pour in from critics and fans alike. Most focus on the vulnerability of the show, how Sharon and Tracy didn't try to recreate the past, but honored it while stepping into something more grounded, more human. Anita remains silent publicly. She hasn't posted, hasn't made a statement. But her absence speaks volumes. The world respects her choice. Jim receives a call one morning with unexpected news. A charity foundation that had once partnered with Articulates now wants to commission a tribute concert in Barbara's name. Not a commercial spectacle, but a private event to benefit show for youth music programs, one night only, to celebrate legacy, healing, and forward momentum. The foundation wants all three, Sharon, Tracy, and Anita. At first, Anita declines. Jim relays the message with care. She listens, closes her eyes, and says softly, I can't go back there. But later, alone in her apartment, she replays an old voicemail from Barbara. The message is brief, fragmented, recorded late at night before a show. Whatever happens, promise me we don't forget the music. The next day, Anita calls Jim. I'll do it, she says. Not for the fans. For her. Rehearsals begin quietly, in a private hall with no press. Sharon and Tracy are nervous, unsure whether the chemistry can ever be what it was. But when Anita walks into the studio, there's no awkwardness. Just a long, silent hug between the three of them. They begin singing again, not rehearsing, just remembering. Their voices crack in the first hour. But by the second, they find each other again. Word gets out slowly. Whispers among fans, hints in private groups. But no official announcement is made. The tribute concert is not public. It's invitation only, for friends, family, old crew members, and the foundation's youth partners. Nicole receives an invitation. So does Danny. Eva is invited personally by Sharon. Even Kat, who's typically behind the scenes, agrees to attend as long as she's not seated near Leslie. Leslie hears about the show late, through an obscure post. She's not invited. Eva doesn't mention it. And Leslie doesn't ask. Instead, she writes something for the first time in years, a blog post titled "The Ones Who Stayed Behind." She speaks candidly about idol worship, about the way obsession fills holes we don't want to face. She talks about her daughter, her regrets, and her hope that the next generation learns not to confuse proximity with purpose. The post goes viral not for its bitterness, but for its honesty. The night of the tribute arrives. The theater is small, intimate. No flashing lights, no dramatic curtain. Just a soft backdrop, a few instruments, and 3 women who've lived more than they ever intended to. Sharon opens with a soloist song Barbara once sang backstage, never recorded. Then Tracy joins. Anita steps in without fanfare. They sing about beginnings. They sing about grief. They sing about moving on. Halfway through the set, the lights dim. A short film plays clips of Barbara, behind-the-scenes laughter, outtakes from rehearsals, shaky phone footage from tour buses. People cry. Danny passes Nicole a tissue without a word. Kat watches from the balcony, unmoving. Eva holds her phone, quietly recording parts to share later, not for the internet, but for her mother, who she knows is listening from afar. When the music ends, there is no encore. No forced ending. Anita steps to the mic and says, "This was never about getting back together. This was about remembering why we started." She looks at Sharon, then Tracy. "We are not who we were. But we're still here." And so is she. The crowd rises. Quietly. Respectfully. No screaming. Just applause that builds, steady and strong. Later that night, the trio sits backstage in sweatshirts, surrounded by old photos and untouched champagne. Nicole visits briefly, hugs all 3. She jokes, "This is the last time I cry in eyeliner for you people." Danny laughs from behind her. Eva sits near the door, quietly texting. She smiles. Leslie has sent her a message. "I saw some clips. You were right to go. Thank you for not giving up on me." Outside the venue, Kat lingers last. She looks at the marquee one more time. It reads only, "For Barbara." No names. No branding. Just truth. In the weeks that follow, third act disbands naturally. No statement, no farewell tour. Just quiet gratitude. Tracy returns to teaching choreography. Sharon starts a podcast on aging in the industry. Anita disappears to a cabin upstate, finally writing that memoir people kept asking for. The fanbase remains active, but the frenzy fades. Something more meaningful has replaced Ida, community grounded in appreciation, not obsession. And somewhere in a small apartment, Leslie finishes a photo album. She labels it Beginnings. On the cover is a picture of Eva as a child, wearing an Articulates shirt 3 sizes too big. In the last page, she inserts a letter from Eva, handwritten. It reads, "You weren't the star. But you were there. And that means something." The legacy of Articulates no longer rests on posters or gold records. It lives in quiet rooms, whispered lyrics, and 3 women who chose forgiveness over fame.